To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Reverend Sean Whittington's Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Reverend Sean, the Rev. Welcome to my haunted house, my very haunted house. I am so grateful that you all have tuned in today because I don't have a show without you. So God bless each and every one of you. Let's check the prayer urn on that note. Peter P. from Kansas. Rev, and I know Peter. Rev, prayer of protection, please. Peter just moved into a new house with his family there in Kansas, and we suspect he is on Indian land, former Indian land. God bless the indigenous. But he's having a lot of issues there. So he wants me to offer up a prayer of protection. And I made a note here to let him know to do an offering too. Spoke to one of my indigenous friends who's originally from that area. He says, go dig a hole out in the yard, put some blessed salt and some holy water in it, some tobacco, candy, money, and peanuts. And pray to the elementals along with introducing yourself to the indigenous spirits that may be there and ask for their acceptance and that you're there with all respect. And that's a good thing. So let me offer up a prayer of protection for Peter and his family. I know he's going to crank the volume up so my words echo through his home. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord Jesus Christ, in thy name I ask thee to bind and silence all powers and forces that do not accept thee as Lord and King, in the air, in the water, in the ground, the netherworld, and nature, and the spiritual world. I ask thee to bind all demonic action and demonic communication. Lord, seal this whole place, all of us here, and all our intentions in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Mary, we ask thee to surround us with thy mantle of protection and crush Satan's power in our lives. Saint Michael the Archangel, we ask you and all our guardian angels to defend us in battle against Satan and the powers of darkness. Amen. Okay. Let's check the Paranormal Ministry mailbag. Boom. Oh, there's a bunch of them in there today. Whoa. Okay. Pamela S. from Maryland. Rev, who are all the people you say goodnight to at the end of your show? Okay. Let me go through the list here. I got it right here. I didn't expect this question. That's cute. Thank you, Pamela, for the question. Well, Jack, I have a family that watches the show, and one day the kids were in the other room watching a movie called A House with the Clock in Its Walls, I think. And they walked into the bedroom and saw mom and dad watching me on this show, and they are convinced 100% I'm Jack Black. So now the kids watch a lot of the episodes too. Kids, if you're watching, hi. Uh, they think I'm Jack Black. So I think that's very funny. So I say goodnight to Jack at the end of the every show. Dog, it's an inside joke, a running inside joke between me and my producer, Adrian Hart. Zach Clayton and Adrian Hart are my producers. Adrian thinks I remind her of Dog the Bounty Hunter. And I remember saying to her, is the dog sexy? She went, uh-huh. I said, am I sexy? She went, It is what it is. I kid you, Adrian. Harold, Ernie, Bill, and Dan. I'm aging myself here. They're the Ghostbusters. I am a diehard from day one when that movie first came out when I was much younger. I've been a diehard Ghostbusting fan ever since. I've actually met Bill and Dan, had some wonderful conversations with them, and I may share that on a future show. But those are the people I am going. And I'm thinking of adding Danny. I know you guys are going, Danny. I have some friends. It's another running joke that if I'm ever do one of these reality paranormal TV shows and they have to cast me because I'm not an actor, they joke that they'll cast Danny DeVito as me. So there you go. So I may add Danny to those that I say goodnight to at the end of the show. Other than that, if there's anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. We don't charge for our ministry work. So if you go there to visit and you're able to do so, I know times are tough, but if you see the donate button and you are able to, click on it and send in a small donation. I promise you it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts. And trust me, we will put it to good use. In addition to being an ordained exorcist, I'm a certified spiritual advisor, intuitive coach. If you have issues of a spiritual nature not attached to the paranormal and you'd like to speak to me, you can make an appointment there at the website to speak with me about those spiritual issues. Don't leave the website, though, without going over to the page called the WSE course/book. On that page is the ghost store. Lots of cool things to buy, like this throwback Ghost Be Gone coffee cup, other things if you go for that sort of stuff. But scroll down to the bottom, you'll see my new haunted autobiography, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry. And I quote, scariest book I ever published. That was Annette Munich, owner of Stellium Books and my publisher. But don't let that scare you off of purchasing a copy. It's a much different type of feel good story. A lot of good versus evil where good wins. But the best part is if you haven't done your good deed for the day yet, part of the proceeds of every purchase of every copy of my book goes to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada, and the ASPCA. So you get to do something good. You can get the book a little less expensive at Amazon, but if you get it off the website, I autograph it and I send it in a beautiful house blessing kit. Scroll a little further down and you'll see the Worldwide Society of Exorcists, which I'm a founding member. I offer a college level online course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare, through the WSE. And this is the course for all of you true warriors for Christ who feel a longing and a calling to want to have more knowledge when it comes to drawing your line in the sand, making a stand, circling the wagons, and putting up a good fight against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling. That's the course for you. All of my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion, suited for framing, along with some other very special blessed gifts that you can only get from yours truly, the Rev. You can enroll in the course there at the website, but if you want to know more about it before making that type of commitment, there is a Worldwide Society of Exorcists Facebook page. You can go there, read more about the course, or call me. You can talk to me about the course. I'm easy to find, easy to get a hold of. But most importantly, please keep all of my former, current, and future students in your prayers. Thank you very much. Okay. Shh. We're going monster hunting. And our tour guide, he's a man who's come face to face with a monster or two in his time, trust me. Brothers and sisters, welcome to the show, the one and only Dave Spinks.
Hey, man, what's going on?
What are you doing besides putting together the most awesome paranormal event this year coming up?
Well, there's a lot of great events out there, but this one's my own. So, it's always fun when you get to put on your own event and bring a lot of good people together, and share experiences and stories and opinions on what these things are and what they're doing here, basically. We're really looking forward to it. And we're going to build it. It's going to be a yearly thing. We're helping the town. We're helping paratourism, and we're bringing attention to all these things unknown and, all this unknown phenomena. And, some of us know what it is, but we don't claim to have all the answers because no one does. And if anyone does, they're simply not telling you the truth. So, that's what we're trying to do. And we're trying, we give people a chance to share their own experiences, sightings, whatever the case, because they won't just come out and talk to anyone about it, but they feel comfortable coming into the store and sharing those experiences with me and with my partner Jen. She's a metaphysical person, and she does all kinds of holistic healing and different things like that. And they may not want to talk to me about that, but they'll talk to her about those aspects. So, and plus she's a female, so if you have a female that had a situation, they might not necessarily feel comfortable talking to a man about it, so they can talk to her, and vice versa. So that's some of the things we're doing here, and looking forward to it, man. Bringing this thing together, and the whole town's behind it. I'm really excited about it. The restaurants are even doing like monster dishes, like Bigfoot burgers, and they're if you're an alcohol consumer, some of the restaurants are doing Mothman beer and Bigfoot beer and the whole nine. The coffee shop's doing a special coffee. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's helping the town. It's giving people a place to come and hear others' experiences, and hear people that have been investigating and researching this stuff for many, many years. So they may just feel like they can open up now about their own experiences and whatnot. So that's all part of this. That's what we're doing it for.
That is so cool, brother. I salute you. I take my hat off to you. I know, having given tours once upon a time myself, and that's not on that level where you're at. That's hard work, man. So before I forget, just tell everybody name of the event, where it's at, how they can get tickets, how they can get there, and exactly the days it's happening.
Okay, it's March 11th, 12th, and 13th of this year, 2022. It's called West Virginia MonsterCon, and it's in Richwood, West Virginia. Look it up. It's a small town, USA. It's right on the edge of the Monongahela National Forest, where a ton of Bigfoot sightings happen and other strange phenomena. A lot of reports come out of the Mon here, yeah. So the 11th is the VIP night. So if you want to get VIP tickets, you go to our Facebook page, Dave Spinks World of Weird Facebook. Go to the events page on that Facebook page, and you can follow along how to get the VIP tickets and the general admission tickets as well. So Saturday is all day speakers and vendor tables and all that good stuff. The store will be open. We have 2 psychic readers and an astrologer going to be here. Cool. Jen is one of the readers, and what's the other 2 names? Kristen and Sarah, and they're very, very good at what they do. I had a reading from Sarah, the astrologer, myself, and she blew me away. I don't know this woman, and she told me stuff that there's no way she could have known. I mean, just phenomenal stuff. So, there are some real deal people out there in the world that have special abilities and they know how to use them. And, unfortunately, we have charlatans and everything that lie, cheat, and steal. We know this. This could be government. This could be law enforcement. This could be anything. So, unfortunately, that's just life. You have that. But I've been fortunate enough to meet some real deal people that I truly believe in, and there's no way they could know things that they knew, and they're the real deal. That's all there is to it. So we have a lot of stuff going on. I'm super stoked. I got a new Zoltar machine coming to the store.
That is so cool. Yeah.
I wanted one of those for years, and the guys that down there in Boulder City, Nevada, that run Zoltar hooked me up big time, and we're having one of those. We got some really cool stuff coming to the store. So and our inventory is constantly changing, and we're adding to it all the time. So it's kind of like your one-stop shop. If you want to read books about the paranormal, all aspects, I've got all that. If you want to get merch, T-shirts, the whole nine, and we've got anything you need for paranormal cleansing, sage, crystals, the whole nine, whatever your forte is. I've got blessed Catholic crucifixes in here from various priests around the country and other stuff. We've got holy oil, holy water. If you're an investigator, and you're in the area and you forgot something at home, or you run out of something, come on by. We can hook you up with whatever you need. We've got sweetgrass. We've got Native American blessings. We've got it all. So come on in and check it out.
Awesome. That is so awesome. And if I'm not mistaken, Jenny's store is adjacent to yours. You guys are side by side, correct?
Well, yeah, her healing center, like, we're hooked together. It's one giant store, but it's got a walk-through. So we've got like all of her crystals and sage and everything in here, in my side and her side. And then her holistic healing center is right attached to the store as well. So we're gonna have tons of stuff going on all the
Let me
time
ask
here.
you a quick question, and let Jenny know that I plan to get her on here one of these days, real soon, and talk to her too. But does she also, in addition to what you already mentioned, does her or anybody that she has under her employment perform during the MonsterCon, like chakra alignment and things of that
Yes,
nature?
yes. All that is being done here and at her other center up in PA, which is in right now. She's moving it to a new location, so that's in transition. But we have it all here too. So we've got a lot of cool stuff going on. Um, you name it, she does it when it comes to that stuff. So she clears people, blesses people. She's also a minister as well. I mean, so she marries people, and she's also a therapist. So
Funny that you bring that up. I've had a vision. Now, my visions are hit and miss, so take it for what it's worth. But I have this vision, and I've already talked to my wife about this because we said, we if we're gonna go to the event, we should really. I know your event's gonna be a big hit, and you're probably gonna have it again next year. That
oh yeah,
her and I
every
should
year.
probably try and get there instead of just sending you a shipment of my books. Her and I should come there. And if I do
Yeah.
come, this is the vision I had. I'm standing in the shop. There's a bunch of people in there, and it goes something like this. Squatchy Dave, do you take Serenity Jenny to be your lawfully wedded paranormal partner in crime? Serenity Jenny, do you take Squatchy Dave to be your paranormal, newly wed, freshly wedded paranormal partner in crime?
Right. Yeah.
Now, the only thing is, I have to say ahead of time here is this part I don't get involved with because it could get dicey, and I know you guys have the two businesses. Is there such a thing as a paranormal prenup nowadays, or no?
I'm sure there is. I mean, there you can make a prenup for anything, but yeah, I mean, we're already there. I mean, we're pretty tight, and we're partners in all this, and we investigate together too as well. So we cleanse homes. We've had some pretty crazy cases, as I gave you little bits and pieces of those, with suicides and kids and all kind of stuff that we feel that we're probably influenced by negative entities of some sort. So, that's just some of what we do. It's not just what you see, you have your public persona, and then there's what we really do behind closed doors to help people, so there's a lot more to it than people even know about that what we do. She's done it before I met her. I've done it before I met her. When we met each other, now we're doing it together. So it just enhanced everything we've both done over our years of doing this stuff. Because she brings a whole nother aspect than what I do, and I bring a whole nother aspect to what she does. So, and we can kind of work together and separately at the same time. Like I'll give you an example. So this one case we were working, I said, why don't we do it like this? I said, I go in first with my equipment, do what I do in this location. I don't know anything really other than what occurred there. I don't know what room, what happened in what room, and where everything transpired, so to speak. So I went in, did my thing, I was drawn right to the room where it happened. I didn't even know what, beforehand what happened. Gathered some pretty startling EVPs and ghost box responses. Came back, didn't talk to her. She was out in the car. I said, okay, I'm done. Now she went in by herself, did what she does, read the place and everything. And then we came back and matched it all up, and it matched up perfectly, and it was mind blowing. And then we had a cameraman filming us the whole time just so we could document if we could match up the way I do stuff and the way she does stuff to give it more validation. And then we brought the mother in and was able to make contact with her deceased son, and it was a tearjerker, let me tell you.
Wow.
And that woman was so brave to be able to go into that situation where her son had taken his own life. There's a whole bunch more to this story, but basically it just gave us much more validation, and we were able to document it. So that's what that's what we do together now, situations like that. So it's very I don't know, it's just very emotional, when it's something
Yeah.
like that, when there's a kid involved, and something like that happens. But it just validates what we both do, to everybody. And then when we can come together and validate it together, it's just mind blowing. And it's just, it's phenomenal that because you have people that are on two sides of the fence, really, in the way they do things, but in the end, they validate each other through each other and get the same results. So it's very, very awesome what we're doing with all that.
I'm so happy for both of you guys. You guys make a great couple and a great uh, relationship as far as the paranormal stuff goes.
Yeah,
I wish you both. You're both on the prayer list. I wish you both
I
many years
appreciate it.
success. It's going to be great. I am going to add. I have a couple of things that have couple of cases that have recently popped up, and it's odd because both times that they did, I thought of you. So if you don't have to have an answer to these two things I'm going to talk to you about, but I would like your professional opinion and feeling on it. But before I go there, just so everybody knows, you've seen Bigfoot. I believe in Bigfoot. What is going on? Any theories as to what's going on with West Virginia where you're at? Because now it's off the charts with everything. I've talked to people that have seen UFOs,
Mhm.
aliens. You and I in the green room before the show started, we joked around about boots on the ground. They've seen aliens on the ground. Um, Hauntings off the charts. Everything's haunted out there. Lots of Bigfoot sightings, big red eye sightings,
Mhm.
dogman sightings, numerous other types of cryptids. What is going on with West Virginia, brother?
Well, there's a lot of things going on with West Virginia, and it's not just now. It's been going on for centuries. First off, these mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, are some of the oldest mountains in the world. At one time, they were as high as the Himalayas, is what mainstream scientists say. Um, Also, it was connected. This area was connected with Scotland and Ireland and stuff way back when, before the continents separated. They mainstream science has proven that. So we also have a lot of quartz crystal in the ground here. There's fault lines here, but there's also a huge Native American presence here from several different tribes: the Cherokee, the Susquehanna, and many more. There's a lot very tribal ancestral areas here. There are bodies, and dug up all around West Virginia. Also, giant skeletons dug up in West Virginia. Some with double rows of teeth. So this stuff dates back for thousands of years here. So then you move into more modern times, and all the folks came over from Europe, and bringing their traditions. And the Irish came here for working in the coal mines. The Italians, the Germans. So you have all these folks moving in, bringing in their folklore and their stories and their attachments and everything they've got, and being settled here for generations. Many mixed with Native Americans, as well. So you have a whole bunch of stuff that's going on here. Um, Before they clear cut most of West Virginia in the early days for wood for the big cities like New York and everything like that, we had some of the biggest trees that were in the United States here. I mean, I've seen tree trunks in the woods here that were big as around as bus, just massive old ancient oak trees that have all been cut down, um, you know, due to lumbering and everything and coal mining and everything else. So if you take a look at that just for one instance, that's going to upset any elemental spirits and
Yeah.
any native spirits and everything else. The land that has been disturbed, excuse me, has been disturbed, and they don't like that at all. And then there's all kinds of theories out there about fault lines and the energy that is expelled from those. Then you talk about the quartz crystal with modern or alien tech. They use we use crystals in our cell phones. There's crystals in all kinds of radios and televisions and everything else. It's all based off of energy. So if you combine all these different things, West Virginia is a hot spot. It's a definite hot spot. We've got the whole gambit of paranormal activity going on here, from hauntings to strange and unscientifically documented creatures like Bigfoot, Mothman, and so on and so forth. Literally, West Virginia has hundreds of these creatures. Some are from Native American lore, some are from Irish lore, some are from German lore, and some, on and on and on and on. So you've got a hodgepodge here in West Virginia, in the Mountain State, of all these things coming together, and the sky's the limit, man, when it comes to paranormal and supernatural activity here. It's always been like that too. I've told you before on your show that almost every single county in West Virginia has a different name for the same creature for Bigfoot. There's the Blue Devil, there's a Yahoo, there's Sasquatch, Bigfoot. I mean, there's so many, and each tribe has their own name for the same creature as well, all around the world. Even the Aborigines have one. I mean, they're all over the place. So, what is all going on here? It's the same thing, and there are places around the world that are more of a hot spot than others. We don't know why. Many people have looked into it. Some are higher in EMF and magnetic levels. Like if you go to some of these hot spots, your EMF meter will go skyrocket off the charts. West Virginia is like that too. I've taken compasses at various locations, just a regular compass, and the thing will sit there and spin.
Yeah, I've always loved the
you
compass.
know.
Yeah.
So there's just so many things that could go into that. And then hauntings can be caused for many different reasons: murders, battles, quick accidental deaths, whatever. We know hauntings can happen for just a whole plethora of reasons. So now, when it comes to aliens and UFOs and stuff like that, I think a lot of it has to do with ley lines and energy that are under the ground, whether it be quartz crystals or gold or whatever. There could be a lot of different factors going into that. And with cryptids, I think a lot of that goes with elementals and ancient beings. And could be demonic, could be angelic. There's all different types of them. So that's like an onion. Well, I always use this analogy because onion has many layers, right? And you got to peel back different layers, but there's so many of those you will never get to it in an entire lifetime. So all we're getting is little bits and pieces of that onion, trying to get a piece of that puzzle, so to speak.
Well, let me tell you what I'm going to throw at you now, and it's I knew there was a reason why I wanted to talk to you about this, and you've mentioned over and over and over again the indigenous population there in your neck of the woods. I have a little Wyandotte Seneca Indian running through my bloods too. I've worked a case on a nearby reservation here. Was invited to an authentic sweat lodge session, which that's a show in itself. Several shows in itself.
That's a big honor too, to be invited to that.
And what I helped with, the actual chief made me, and I've had many of them made for me before, but the most beautiful, I don't have it in the room here, I'd show you, the most beautiful smudging fan made out of half a dozen different feathers that I've ever seen in my life. When the mojo's really thick at an area where I suspect there's spiritual indigenous issues, I bring that along. You're right, it was a great honor. But somebody sent me this documentary. I don't watch a lot of the paranormal shows. I've caught many of yours. It's just not my thing. Plus, I'm really busy, but it's just not my thing. A documentary about the hairy man in Port Chatham, Alaska. So when I heard about this story and I started researching it, when I heard that the natives, the indigenous Alaskans, don't even live there because of this creature, I reached out to a friend of mine who happens to be of Native Alaskan background heritage. We talked about it. I don't know if you're familiar with the story, but they've got this creature there they call the hairy man. It resembles Bigfoot, but much more man-like than the traditional way we come to think of Bigfoot as, but very Bigfoot-like, but violent as all get out. And it was so violent and killed so many people. The natives don't live there, and the original settlers there, who had one of the largest, most lucrative fish cannery businesses in the world, shut that down, and everybody packed their bags and left. So I'm throwing that out at you. If you have a theory, if you've heard about the hairy man in Port Chatham, Alaska. Recently, I've been reached out to by a gentleman, and the reason why I bring it up is many people have reached out to me before this gentleman about this. Being out in the middle of the woods and being stalked and followed by a deer, a big deer that walks upright. And it follows them all. It circles them, it stalks them, it follows them so much so that they leave the woods and quit their hike because it's freaky. I'm here to tell you all the freaky things I've seen in my life that would freak me out. And I don't like the woods anyway. But they come home, then they see it, and it's out in their yard. Then
Hmm.
they have issues inside the house. They don't see it in the house. They see other types of apparitions in the home.
Hmm.
But I always liken that type of stuff to very Native American, indigenous, uh, shape shifting, Wendigo type stuff.
Yeah.
What's your theory if you know anything about Port Chatham Hairy Man and this apparition of this? We talked last time you and I talked. We talked about you know um, the one guy with it's a hairy body like a dog man, but he's got a goat head. Um, the potlick creature. What's your theory on either one or both of those?
Well, when it comes to Bigfoot type creatures, okay, my theory and my opinion is that they're like people. All right, there's many different types of people. There's red ones, black ones, yellow ones, white ones, whatever. I think that some are can be very territorial and violent at sometimes because there are stories from credible people out there that have been stalked by these things. You know, there's the whole Ape Canyon incident. The Paiutes talk their traditional oral lore is that they battled these red-headed giants for years. These giants would come into their camps, take people, and they had these baskets on their back that had these reverse spikes. So they throw people in these baskets behind their back, and they couldn't get out because all the spikes. And then they take them back, and they were cannibals, and they ate them. So there's all kind of stories out there of some of these Bigfoot type creatures, and that's a broad spectrum. Okay, that I'm saying Bigfoot type creatures, wild men, Bigfoot type creatures, whatever term you want to use, that are violent in nature. But there's other ones that are not violent as well. And I'm not saying go out there and if you see one, take a shot at it or whatever. Only time you should have any interaction like that is if your life is being threatened, and then you have all rights to defend yourself. But don't go out and hunt one of these creatures and try to shoot one, because that's not going to do anybody any good. So, and plus it's going to bring you bad mojo upon yourself, I think.
Yeah.
So now if it's trying to kill you, yeah, by all means defend yourself, do what you got to do. But I liken these things to like people. There's violent people out there, that for whatever reason they're just violent and they attack other people, just like Bigfoots. Maybe they feel that you're invading their territory. There's all kinds of
And
Native
we
American.
are,
You're right, and there's
Yeah.
all kinds of Native American stories where they said they had come to agreements with the men of the woods, or the creatures of the woods they talked about, and the Bigfoots or the Sasquatches would mark their territory by taking trees out of the ground, entire trees with the roots and all, and flipping them upside down and sticking them in the ground. And a lot of that was prevalent up in the Canadian and Alaskan area. Some of those stories, and so they came to an agreement. This is our area, and this is your area, and we'll stay there, and you stay there, and we'll leave. It'll be peaceful. And that's how they said they brokered peace deals between some of these more violent tribes of these so-called Bigfoots, or wild men, these creatures that were violent in nature. But you take into account that fish camp, those creatures depend on that food to live and survive. And if they feel like the humans were taking over their area, they may choose to fight. It's just like when we came in and we basically stole the land from the natives and pushed them into these reservations. It's wrong.
Yeah.
So it's the same type of situation when you take a look at it in a more broad spectrum outside the box like that. If you think about it, they may just be defending their territory where they depend on to live, hunt, and survive, in that type of aspect. So we've cut down all the forests. I mean, the lumber industry has gone crazy, and they're just clear around here, even in West Virginia, they're starting to clear cut again. And I'm totally against that. I am so against clear cutting forests. It's okay to select cut, but when you clear cut, you ruin the woods, literally. And it takes a lot of years for those trees to come back, which produce food for all the animals and so on and so forth. Those animals depend on those acorns and those nuts that grow on trees. So yeah, if there's an indigenous species of Bigfoot, or a clan of Bigfoots in a particular area who have been there probably for thousands of years, and we come in and invade it and cut all their food sources out, of course they may choose to fight, because we know they're very intelligent, and they've survived this long apparently, and yeah, there's not many numbers of them left, I don't think, in my personal opinion, but they're there. And whether they're elementals or whatever, they have a tie to that particular area for some reason, and it's either sacred to them or that's their food source or whatever. And yeah, when people encroach on it, I think that they do in fact get peed off. It's just like my whole experience that I've talked about. I didn't think the thing was going to attack us, but it was highly agitated that we were there. We had caught a bunch of fish. It didn't like us there, and it was warning us. Just like a great ape with posture, the gorillas, they'll charge you, but most time they won't attack you. If you submit and you get in a defensive posture, most of the time they're not going to do nothing to you. They're just warning you, get out of my area. And that's how I felt when I analyzed it as I got older. This thing just threw big rocks at us to scare the crap out of us, to want us to get out of there, So, and then tore the woods down at the same time, because it was just showing a show of force, so to speak, So, and I think that happens. And I've talked to many other people that have had sticks thrown at them, pretty good size, sticks come out of nowhere, flying through the air and hit by their feet, or large stones that would be thrown at them. And those people, there's no people around us, man. What threw that rock or that large piece of wood at us? So it's a way that they're saying, hey, this is our area, get out of there, but there's more extreme cases like you're talking about, where people have been killed. Same with the Paiutes. They passed down that oral tradition for years, for thousands of years, and their tribe members were being attacked and killed. Well, maybe, that particular group of those creatures was more aggressive, and they felt they had to kill all the humans off, so I don't know, it's just one of those things. So, and then there's been, how many encounters have we all heard about when there's a group of children playing in the woods with their family, and a Squatch will come in and just look at them and check them out, just like, and there's been all kinds of interactions like that reported as well.
Bring up the kids, because
Yep.
I have a theory that many times when you encounter them and they really are acting as though you are invading their territory and this is where we draw the line, leave now, go. I think there's children, there's juvenile Squatch around, and it's a protection thing.
Yeah. That's another good point.
This will blow you away.
Point.
When I did my my sweat lodge session, the head holy man there, he kind of gave me a little heads up. You're going to see some wondrous things. You may see some extremely frightening things. There are extremely gifted other holy people here to protect you, so don't freak out and worry about it. And then he just nonchalantly said, we thought of inviting one or two of the original people, the first people, but we thought you're not ready for that yet. And I almost let that go. And I said, original people, first people, like your people. He said, oh, you don't call them that. He said, we thought of inviting a couple of the Sasquatch, but we don't think you're ready for that. And you know what? We never said another word about it, but the look on his face, I'm telling you, he seemed serious. And I've always thought about that since that day. That could you imagine? I believe many of these indigenous have them, great amounts of them on the reservations, because nobody goes there. Mm-hmm. They know it's a safe haven, and they have a kinship with some of these tribes. And I believe that many of these holy people, indigenous holy people, have found a way to friend and communicate some of these. And could you imagine being in a sweat lodge session with a Sasquatch? I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds crazy, man. And I could be crazy. But I thought he was serious when he said that.
I'm pretty sure they usually don't joke about matters like that. At least off of my experience, but you never know. They might have been trying, I guess you just have to go back and try it again and see if they let you do it. But I'd love to do something like that. That
Do you
would be
believe
nice.
it's possible that they could be
Well,
that
sure. Why
in
not?
communication? And yeah,
Why not? Yeah.
yeah, we need to somehow find a way, and I'm just saying we because we're part of that race, but our ancestors have done them so wrong. I don't blame for them for being so tight-lipped and secretive and close to the vest with so many spiritual things that they know that they don't share with us. That I do believe that we could probably learn a lot about that, about the Sasquatch. If they opened up some of these reservations, opened up more about that. But
Well, they don't
yeah,
want the government. The problem is they don't want the government coming in and taking over. Which there's been many accounts reported that even when Mount St. Helens blew up,
yeah,
that
you told me about
yeah,
that.
and
I
then
never heard that.
so I had another feller come in the other day and tell me a whole bunch of stories, and he goes, "You remember when Mount St. Helens blew up, and all there was a piece of video clip out there, and I remember seeing this, and they were escorting these very big men out of the woods, and they were around the edge of the blast radius from Mount St. Helens." And he said, if you pay close attention to that, you can't find it now because they took it down right away. Even during when it happened, they had dressed up Bigfoots in long trench coats and hats and were escorting them out of there because some were very badly injured and others, and the rest of them. And I said, I never saw that, but I heard other people talking about that they saw this clip of news footage, and the military was escorting these creatures out, and they had them dressed up so people wouldn't see them. And I was like, man, that's crazy if that's true.
Weren't you the one that also told me about the dead bodies in the
Yeah,
nets or being
yeah, and
hung?
then yeah, I talked to a couple guys that were eyewitnesses to that, and people that saw it on the news, and that probably part of that same clip that he's talking about, where they were carrying what only people described as Bigfoot bodies in giant nets under the helicopters, and they were taking them out of there after the Mount St. Helens blew up. So I didn't see it personally, but when you hear from, I mean, we're talking from forest people and people that work in the forest industry and military and things like that. You have to kind of take it everything with a grain of salt you hear, but these are credible people that have no reason to make up a story like that. So their reputation and everything else is on the line, and I'm sure they took a lot of ridicule for sharing those experiences and stories that they felt so compelled to share in the public eye, because it was very compelling to them that, oh my God, these things are real. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt always, of course, but also realize who's telling you the story or their experience, and why are they telling you that, and what do they have to gain or lose by telling this story. Do they have more to lose by sharing it? These guys did, for sure. I mean, I'm talking military members and U.S. forestry personnel and everything else. They're putting everything on the line because they feel so compelled to share that experience with the rest of the world, and say, hey, this is what I saw, and take it or leave it.
Yeah.
But so you have to pay attention to those types of things. um, you know, just like with the whole alien issue, you've got astronauts going on record. These are the best of the best, sharing their experiences, what they saw when they went to the moon, what they saw when they were in orbit, when they were first testing to go to the moon. These guys know what they saw was not from this earth. So, and they felt compelled enough to share that with the world. So, they have everything to
Now
learn.
you have even the Vatican has schooled
Yep.
many of their priests on how to uh, talk to life forms from other
Hmm.
worlds if when they arrive. When
Yeah, and they've
or
they've actually created their own agenda for preaching the word of God to the aliens. So,
and they had talking to the astronauts too about how
mhm,
to. Yeah.
yeah. So, and then we all know what just came out recently all over the news. Government admits that there's things in the sky they don't know what it is. So for them, we've been being drip fed this information for years through movies and everything else. For full disclosure, well, it's starting to happen. But the only thing I worry about is they're gonna pitch a negative alien agenda. I think the same thing with aliens as I do Bigfoot. They're like people. There's bad ones and there's good ones, and I think hopefully the governments of the world are not trying to pitch a all negative alien agenda. to create a one world government and for us to fight them, because they're not all bad. No
Well,
matter what not
we
what
would
anybody
lose.
says, they're not all bad. There's a lot of good ones out there, and they're probably at
That would
war
be,
with evil aliens themselves.
yeah, yeah.
So take
I have
everything with a
another
grain of salt.
theory, and I have another crazy theory that some of these, what we think are spacecraft, are alive creatures too. But that's
Yes.
a whole nother story. West Virginia. I have to tell you this. I didn't plan on talking to you about this, but I'm feeling the feel. I know you have the Appalachians. You mentioned the Appalachians, and just on a side note, there's a book out called Grandma Gatewood. It's a true story about the oldest woman to ever hike the Appalachian Trail. That was my wife's grandmother.
Oh wow,
Um,
that's awesome.
but I know the cave system there in West Virginia, and I've talked to many professional splunkers that go down in these caves and
Hmm.
explore them, who have told me some pretty wild stories, like other worlds. I am claustrophobic. I couldn't see myself splunking. Have you ever thought about splunking? With all
No,
the No, you don't like that?
I've gone in caves, but I have to be able to stand up and walk around. I'm not crawling on
Yeah,
my belly, squeezing through some
yeah,
little tiny hole.
I know,
Because
but
I
that's
used it when I was a
crazy.
kid. That stuff didn't bother me, but now, like when I have to go to the VA for MRIs, I freak out. I can't do it anymore. I don't know why,
Oh,
but I just don't like being where I can't move, man. So yeah, I don't like that. So, but yeah, that we have a vast cave system here that connects all the way into Virginia, into those cave systems. There's also a lot of people don't know this. There's a prehistoric lake under West Virginia.
I did
Um,
not know that.
yeah, and uh, so yeah, there's a lot of cave systems here, especially in the southeastern part of the state. And it all connects into the Monongahela, like I told you. So, it's a great place for these creatures to hide and live in. They get cover. They can stay warmer underground than they can outside in the winter if they so choose. I feel Bigfoots are kind of nomadic myself, but sure, there's probably some that stay in particular places all year round because they have the food and the water and the shelter they need. So, yeah, so it's just the state's awesome when it comes to all this stuff. We have it all here, and that's like I said, I feel that's one of my jobs to really push West Virginia into the forefront of a lot of this stuff because not only are they had the first International UFO Congress here right in Charleston, West Virginia. In the 60s, West Virginia was considered the UFO capital of the world, and we do not at all get the Bigfoot / Sasquatch attention we deserve here because there's this literally thousands of reports coming from out of here for many years, going back to even before it was West Virginia, when it was all Virginia before the Civil War, and going back into this country's earliest, parts of this country's history. And then if you take all the Native American tribes for tens of thousands of years that have drawn these creatures on rock art, cave art and rock drawings, they've been here forever. So they're not just everybody concentrates on the Pacific Northwest, but this is the Pacific Northwest of the East Coast right here. I'm telling you.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've got a ton of stuff here. We're a small state, but we're a very, very rural state. There's not that many people in this state, and most of them are concentrated in certain, city areas like Charleston, Morgantown, and Beckley. Other than that, it's sparsely populated. It's very rugged. The whole state is mountains. That's why they call it the mountain state. There's hardly any flat land on this entire state, let me tell you. So we've got it all here, man. And it's what they call it wild and wonderful West Virginia. I mean, for a reason. So, it's just
Well,
chock full.
before we run out of time, once again, tell everybody, give them the website, give them you got some wonderful Facebook pages out there. And after you go through that whole list,
So I got
recommend to the first time Dave Spinks reader which of your many books you would like them to start out with and where they can get it.
Well, what started me in all this is I had my Bigfoot encounter with my grandfather when I was 13, right down the road from my store on what is known as the Gauley River. It's kind of a hot spot. There's a lot of sightings right around this area from many walks of life, law enforcement officers, game wardens, school teachers, doctors, lawyers. And I put a lot of those accounts that I've, interviewed these people, and a lot of them came to me because they wanted to get that story and that experience off their chest. So I put it in my book with my experience, and it's called The West Virginia Bigfoot. So it's a great book and if you want to learn about me and what started me in this madness, that's what started it. And, a lot of people have seen the TV show I told the story on, These Woods Are Haunted. But what I'm always honest about is the show added things that didn't happen, and they changed the order in which some things happened, which really made me mad. But little did I know, I was new to the TV world then, that they can do anything they want once you sign that contract. So remember that. If you ever get to share one of your experiences on TV, try to be adamant about you want it to be told the way it really happened. And a lot of times they'll try their best, but they want to make things more scarier and more entertaining, which in my case, I felt you didn't need to make it any more scarier. I mean, it was there. So if you want to read the real story of how it went down and you've seen the show, read my book. You can get it on Amazon or directly from me here at the store. So my Facebook pages are Dave Spinks World of Weird. I have a Dave Spinks author page. I have a regular fan page and several pages, West Virginia Monsters out there. And my website, if you want links to all that stuff, it's www.davespinksparanormalinvestigator.com. It's going across the bottom of the screen right now as we speak. So there's a lot of connections to my store and everything else right on there. You can see all the TV shows I've been on, the movies I've been in, the documentary movies I've been in, on various cryptids and whatnot. And that should be about it, I guess. And come out to West Virginia. Come out to West Virginia MonsterCon, man.
Mine's going to be Danny DeVito. Which actor's going to play you? Is it going to be like Bruce Willis?
Well, we had some weird feedback going on there.
They're going to have Danny DeVito probably play me if they ever cast me in a movie. But who are they going to cast you? Did we lose you, Dave? I think we lost Dave. Oh no.
There we go.
Are you back?
Yeah.
So who are they going to cast you in a movie? Is it going to be Bruce Willis?
Yeah, I wish. But yeah, I mean, that's all fun. It's all fun. TV's a bonus. I don't do it for that. But if I get to share my experiences and what I know and how I do things, I'm going to do it, to get the word out there so people can come and see the real Dave Spinks, come and see me at my store, read my books, all that stuff. That's all bonus stuff on TV and movie. I really like doing the good documentary movies because that shows the real thing. There's no Hollywood special effects. There's none of that crap in there. It's just doing what I do. And that's what I love about those. So, it is what it is, man. I'm blessed and happy to be where I'm at in this situation, with the new store and Jen and everything that's going down with us. It's just, it's a life changer what's transpired in the last 2.5 years for me, and I was fortunate enough to get on some stuff.
I joked earlier about the whole wedding thing, but that would be pretty awesome if
we might as well be married. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, if I'm going to be there anyway next year, that would be awesome.
Yeah, but I hope you and your wife can make it out. Come hang out with us even after the conference. Be awesome.
Before we run out of time, I'm going to get to I'm so bad at this. I'm going to get to at least one fan question for you.
Okay.
And this is a great one. First, he made me laugh because he said, ask Dave about graboids.
About what?
Graboids. That's that big worm in the Tremors movies.
Oh, yeah, graboid.
Graboid.
Yeah.
So he says to me, he just said that to
well, there is
this is why he said that. He was just joking, but he said he's in Alabama. He was walking down a path with his dog, and he was so frightened by this that he got back to the truck and threw his dog in there because he thought maybe his dog would get eaten. He tells me coming out of a big trap door and walking across the path was a spider the size of a Volkswagen Bug.
Oh, yeah. I've heard stories of that in the Amazon. Same thing.
I hate spiders.
Yeah, I don't like them. They're nasty.
Do you think that's possible? Do you believe that's possible?
Well, in my book, anything's possible. And now you've heard the stories about the hollow earth theory where there's a whole nother world under our world and all these things. And there is a creature known as the Mongolian death worm that are those same type of worms that we saw in the movie Tremors. That's all based off of. And if there is another world, and we just talked about these giant cave systems all over the planet, basically, and who's to say what's not under this earth? We don't. That's another area of the planet that really hasn't been explored. Who's to say what's under the earth, man? I mean, it's pretty scary, when you think about it. And we know there's giant snakes out there. I mean, there's been actual video and specimens caught of humongous snakes, man. Some eating people, some big enough to swallow an entire alligator or crocodile. We've all seen video clips of that, and some of that is real. So there's so many unexplored aspects of this planet and things. Look at the ocean. I mean, it's hard to tell what's in the ocean, man. So
Yeah, that's they always talk about going to space, going to space. I don't know why they don't have more expeditions of the areas of the ocean that we've never been. I believe that would be a pretty eye-opening experience for any of the explorers that did that. I agree with you 100%. That's where they should be going.
yeah, and it's so
Do
deep. I
space
mean,
later. Yeah.
yeah, the ocean's so deep. There's crevasses and things that are taller than Mount Everest under the ocean. So I mean, think about that. I mean, once we get the technology to be able to go that deep, it's hard to tell what they're going to find down there. And they're finding new species in the ocean daily, man, daily, with some of these deep diving submersibles they've come out with in recent years. It wasn't that long ago. This is one of my favorite ones I like to talk about is the giant squid, the Kraken, was told by many a sailor over hundreds and hundreds of years. And lo and behold, those Japanese fishermen caught like a 60-footer, a 60-foot squid. That's massive. That's
Yeah.
massive.
Got them in the
So
Sea of Cortez too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's stuff out there, folks, that's downright scary. I mean, really. A squid those little squids, those Humboldt squids, are very aggressive.
Aggressive. Yeah.
They've killed divers, and those are little
Yeah.
ones. So we're talking five or 4, 5, 6 footers. They rip their mass off. They got some wicked weapons on those tentacles, man. So pretty scary stuff.
Well, listen, brother, before we run out of time, I love you and I respect you, and I'm going to get you and Jenny, or at least at the very least Jenny, on here soon. Um, have a wonderful remainder to your Friday evening. Thank you so much for spending an hour with me and my viewers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, I wish you the best of luck with this event. It's going to be awesome. And next year, um, yeah, if my wife and I can get out there, we will, and we will have a rocking good time. And
Yeah,
I'll be close enough to go to my old stomping ground and try to visit New Jersey, where I was raised. So give a hug and a kiss to Jenny for me.
will
Good
do.
luck on the upcoming event. I know it's going to be a great success. And thank you so much for being here,
We
brother. I
got to build
appreciate
it, man. And my pleasure. Anytime, Sean. It's always a pleasure doing your show, man.
it. All right, brother. You have a good evening. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Take care.
Good night, Dave. Thank you. Dave Spinks. I know you all love him too. Thank you all very much for tuning in. He rocks. Okay, who's going to be here next Friday? I will be here next Friday with an all new live show. Friday, March 4th. And you all know her and love her too. And I talked about her earlier in the show. One of my producers, Adrian Hart, aka Ghost Granny, Desert Heart Paranormal, Things Network, will be here next Friday. That should be a good show. Okay, what else do I want to tell you guys? You know what? This is what I'm going to give you guys some advice for what it's worth. Hate no one, no matter how much they've wronged you. Love humbly, no matter how love humbly and live humbly, no matter how little you have or how much you have. Think positively, no matter how hard life is. Give much, even if you've been given little. Forgive all, especially those who've wronged you. Forgive everyone, including yourself. And never stop praying for the best for everyone. And on that note, I am going to light a candle. May the Holy Spirit intervene and watch over the people and the country of Ukraine. May God bless them this night and forevermore. And that candle will continue to burn for the people of Ukraine. All right, guys. I love you all. I'll see you all next week. Good night, Danny. Good night, Jack. Good night, Dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. Thank you, Things Network. Thank you, Paranormal United Network. Thank you, Zach Clayton, for producing the show. Good night, everybody. God bless. Peace.